The question was, where do you look for the news or the catalyst for the stocks? For me, one of the good reference which I mostly use is this benzinga.com. Apart from this, Yahoo Finance also keeps publishing the news on the stocks which are doing good. On specific sectors, you could check either on Benzinga or on Yahoo. And there are many other websites where you could get sources. I found, based on stocks which I have traded on news, Questrade also has its news feature. Whenever some of the stocks which are doing good, either during midday or pre-market, their updates, a collection of stocks that they mention, those are good references. But those uh, are after the news comes out, and once the stock has moved. Similarly, even IBKR generates daily report, and I see the daily reports from IBKR. They are having both information which could help you to take positions before the stock price has gone up, as in they include information about the upgrades, downgrades, earnings to be released on that day, and how the market trend in general, not only the US market but also other markets, how they have behaved. They give a summary. It's at the start of a day. I don't know if some of you have noticed. You don't need to subscribe for market research. They give a daily report. Coming to Benzinga, I specifically use this for pre-market stocks if I get up early. It has its pre-market. So I take reference from here on the stocks which are doing good in the pre-market, and based on that, if I would have taken position before that day, I see how my stocks are doing, or which are the stocks that are up in the pre-market, and after that I see how is the trend going on in the pre-market. Uh, After I see, let's say DNN, it is showing 24.52. So I take the stock from here and then go on Yahoo to analyze it. How is it trading in the pre-market? Since Yahoo also gives real-time data for the pre-market stocks, that's why I use Yahoo to see how is it trading in the pre-market. That's kind of this table again is a reference of stocks which have gone up, and you could also see the news corresponding to those stocks. If you open on their page itself, you'll find all the headlines. So this is another place where I look for the news corresponding to those stocks. They have releases matching to the stock ticker. They kind of filter out the news specific to that stock or that company. And apart from these two sources, one of the most important source, which uh, if you are uh, investing on a stock for short to long term, short, medium, or long term, uh, obviously is the company website, where uh, you should be visiting company website for the release ad. So a basic search, if you do on Google, you would see the search results shows Yahoo, and also some of the websites which you could use as reference, like Market Watch also gives updated news on the stocks. So what I was going to say is about going to the company website. Yeah. So see, for this Denison Mines, there's a investor page, and you would find similar either investors or news releases or updates page for the all almost all the companies, mid cap to large cap, even smaller companies, wherein they release news based on how the company is doing, what are their latest updates, which is good and very authentic reference of how the company is doing, what are their current plans, and what you could expect from that company. So this is specifically important when you are investing in any of the company for at least for medium to long term. And referring here gives you a very good understanding of um, how the company's product is being marketed and what you could really expect from them if you invest for let's say for 3 months, 6 months. There are additional information which are really helpful, like in this case you can look for their financial calendar and events, their previous releases, and you can see analyst coverage. So um, it these pages vary from company to company, but it's a very authentic reference based on which you could take a decision whether you would like to invest in this company stock or not. Any questions so far? Are we good?
Just one
Yes.
question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you also consider the volume purchased by the institution for this particular stock before you go and try to buy it or sell it?
That's a very good question. So if you are still at the research stage of a particular stock, um, you um, it would be a very good reference on seeing which are the financial institutions which are interested in the company, and uh, how much time before they have invested, how much position they have taken. There are some places where you can get those details. That gives a kind of a reference of how the market feels or the financial institutions feel about that particular company. Like say in this, if these many analysts have given have their coverage, which means these institutions are interested in this company, uh, which is giving a confidence that it's something that's being uh, more, I would say it's a company which is being into business, and these institutions also have trust or belief that the company is going to do good. So yes, that information really helps. And now I would like to add one more thing to this. Usually when um, I am trying to buy any stock, so the first answer was for a company stock which I am doing research. Now, if I have done good research and I am thinking to enter a particular stock, I try to make sure that I make little mm, or buy some positions before any before any big financial institution has taken position. If you manage to do that, what happens is uh, once the financial institutions take position, because their position is big, you, you are already in profit. So that analysis really helps. And if with that analysis, if you manage to take position before them, uh, it is very profitable.
So is there any way we can identify such kind of things before the institution can jump in those stocks? Like, is there any indicator on the charts or something like that?
So based on this is purely based on my experience. I have seen many times happening that based on the technical indicators, once a particular stock is in oversold position, let's say for this, when it is around this price, when it is in oversold position and you manage to take position, buy it, there are high chance that around this time or maybe even later, a institutional investor gets in and the stock price goes up. So I have personally observed and have benefited by buying stocks in the oversold position uh, when there's no relevant news released from the company, there's nothing much happening on a particular company, but I took position only purely based on technical analysis when the indicators indicated the stock is in oversold position. This has worked for me. I can't say if it might work for everyone and for all company stocks, but many times this has worked for me.
Sorry, just to ask one more. Like, I'm not sure how to know the oversold position. Is there any like how to understand that point, whether it is oversold or not?
Yeah, sure. So I'll also share the session that we had last week wherein Vivek sir explained in detail. But again, to touch upon that, we primarily use technical indicators. First being Bollinger Band, these three lines which you see. Next is this Williams R. Third is CCI. There's one more indicator, RSI, which you would have heard, Relative Strength Index, and then volume. So with these five indicators, I take most of my short term, long term, medium term, and even um, very quick positions on mostly based on these five indicators. And how do these indicators I use, and VXR has spoken about it in multiple sessions. I would give a reference of those videos after the session in the group. So let's take example of Shopify. At this point, these two red candles, if you see, these red candles are touching lower Bollinger Band. Okay.
Right. Hmm.
And at this point, the Williams R is at minus 99 and CCI is at minus 180. So when a stock is touching lower Bollinger Band or is close to lower Bollinger Band and Williams R is under minus 80 and CCI is under minus 100, that that indicates the stock is in oversold position. And
Okay. Okay.
if if you enter that stock in oversold position, um, this is a big red candle, which means the sell off was larger. um, if the sell off is larger, might be there is a some news, but if it is like normal, uh, less sell off, then there might not be any news about why the sell off happened, and there may not be any catalyst in the websites that I mentioned. You might not find people actively discussing about it. And if you happen to take position here, maybe in next few days, if the company releases something or there's some analyst who upgrades the company rating based on some or the other catalyst, you might notice that the stock starts going up. And
Okay.
once
Mhm.
it reaches a position where it starts touching the upper Bollinger Band, if the next day it has started trading at lower price, that's uh, along with that you can notice these indicators. The Williams are in this example, it has reached close to minus 3 and CCI is plus 119. So when the Williams R is close to positive value, close to zero, and CCI is above 100, that's overbought position. In that position, it's a time to sell and cash on your profit.
Okay, okay. Hey, just quick question, Kamal.
Yeah.
So you as well, right? You said those five indicators, including this. So in that context, how do the volumes are good to take position?
Sorry, your voice was breaking, but if I understand your question correctly, uh, how does the volume help in uh,
Yes,
deciding?
that was my question. Yeah,
Right. Okay.
in
So,
this context, in this Shopify.
on perfect. So that's a very relevant question. So if you notice here, um, on 6th of November, the stock price was going up. Okay. But on 9th of November, what happened is the stock price, it it closed at 1314, whereas on 9th of November it opened at 1168 lower price, and then it started dropping down further. If you would have noticed sometime in the morning when the market opened around 9:30 to 11, you would notice that the stock is going down, and based on volume of how much is the volume in selling sell off, it could give you a sense whether it would continue dropping during the day. If the volume at the start is high in sell off, you can expect that as the price keeps dropping, there would be more people who would be selling in order to either to minimize their loss or to um, take out whatever little profit they got by buying at lower price. So the volume on the other hand, on a green day, when the stock price starts, let's say here in the morning it opened around 1365, if the volume is high in people buying it, you can expect that the stock price towards the end of the day will continue going up. So a, it's a kind of a strong indicator which helps you to make a probable guess whether the stock price on that particular day will continue moving up or continue moving down. The volume is a really good indicator on if you are trying to take position on that particular day.
Oh,
Similarly
thanks.
for similarly you could see for uh, long, if you are trying to take position for medium to long term also, these candles which are here, these are volume, and uh, it helps to make a rough guess that okay, let me take example from here. Yeah, this one would be a very good example. So if you see here, again this was in oversold position. Let's say on this day, we are watching this stock. This is Shopify. We are interested in it. We have it in the watch list. We are watching this stock, and on this day when it was in oversold position, we did not buy. We were watching, but we were not confident because we saw like 1 2 3 4 5. Here it went up, but again it further moved down. Here 2 days market was indecisive, and then there was more sell off. So looking at this trend for about um, over over a week, we are we might not be confident whether when it is green it will go up or no. So we might wait and see how it opens next day. And on the next day when it opened higher, can you see the volume, this green candle? I'll just
Yeah, it's
so if you
almost
see,
twice of its average. Yeah.
yeah, so this green candle is very big, which is indicating its volume on that day people buying is quite big in number, which means the market is having positive outlook of this stock, and you can expect that it is going to move up from here, uh, which if you see the next day it was much bigger green candle and it has taken uptrend from here. So maybe you might feel that this is the only reference, but uh, many times you might notice that volume, if you see this kind of difference, it gives a hint as a strong indicator whether the market is going to take this stock up or whether the market is not confident about it and the sell off will continue. Make sense?
Lot of, yes, definitely.
Okay, great.
Kamal, I have a question.
Yeah.
Kamal, as you say volumes, so volume, like it's oversold. So this means the people are now going to get in and buy more. So when we
Not
say
always. Sorry to interrupt. Not always, because what happens is people who are trading based on technical indicators, they are the ones
yeah,
who take that decision. But a normal retail investor, he who doesn't understand technical analysis much, they their reference is whether price is going down or up. Based on that, if they see price is going down, they might end up selling because they don't want to lose much.
okay. And Kamal, when you say oversold or overbought, see, this is a very like a beginner question.
Mhm.
Uh, so when you say oversold or overbought, if somebody is selling, then the other person is buying also.
Right.
So doesn't that mean like selling and buying are equal?
Um, Selling and buying is not equal, um, but you are very correct in the first part wherein someone is selling, there's someone who is buying.
The
So,
bid price is lower.
sorry?
The bid price is lower when someone is buying at a lower rate.
Right, right. Yeah. So, because of the difference, the stock's real-time price goes up or down. If there are same number of people who are buying and same number of people who are selling, then you would see that the stock price doesn't move up or down. It almost remains at the same level. Um, when there are more sellers and less buyers, then the stock price drops. When there are more buyers, when there is more demand,
It
and
pushes it up.
yeah, less sellers, then the stock price moves up. Now, to your question, when it is at oversold position, um, there are people who have sold it and the stock has reached oversold position. Uh, at this oversold position, there are people like us who understand technical indicators and who are interested in the stock and have studied the pattern of the stock and are making a guess that at this price it is good to enter, because after this or maybe after some time the stock will start reversing and start moving up. So even though it is most of the people are have sold or are selling, but since you understand that it's looking to be a good time to enter now to make profit, so that's where uh, people try to enter in oversold position. um, as I tried to cover before, who are selling here, there are two kind of people who are selling here. One would be people who would have actually bought it way lower price and they don't want to lose on their profit, they would be selling. There would be people who would have bought somewhere here and are now feeling that they are losing too much and don't want to lose further because uh, they can't predict whether the stock will stop falling down. So there are two kind of position holders who try to exit at these stages.
Okay. Thank you, Kamal. Thank you.
Welcome.
Kamal, I have a quick question. This indicator always helpful for blue chip stock, but what about the penny? How can I decide whether I should enter? Like example for TRX.
Mhm.
So I think you gave the buy call for TRX around 0.90 something, right? I think
Right.
it's running at 0.85.
Mhm.
And but if you look at the chart, will that give the confidence to enter now? Because it's on the upper level in the Bollinger Band.
Right, right. So that's a very good question, and specifically for penny stocks, what I have observed is penny stocks also follow same chart patterns which mid or big size or large cap stocks follow. However, penny stocks are more driven by the market, volume on the stock, as well as news, whether those news are artificially generated or they are uh, actually there is some mm, positive or negative thing happening in the company and they release. There are analysts who try to make their predictions, uh, and there are various other influencers in general who give their views on the stock, and the because the price of the stock is low, even a 0.10 dollars movement in the stock causes a big change in the percentage. So the prediction on the technical analysis of the stock, it does hold good, but other factors influence the stock price more many times. That's why you see a large variation in the stock percentage movement when it comes to the penny stocks. Now, for this particular stock, as you rightly said, it is here. It is above Bollinger Band, and it's at a position where you you can expect that it is going to fall down because it's in overbought position. Our indicators Williams R is plus 20, CCI is 166, RSI is 65, RSI above 70 is like overbought position. So based on these indicators, you are right that it on this day, on I think Thursday, it was at a, or maybe on Wednesday I would have mentioned, uh, on these indicators it was indicating that it's at overbought position, and if it was a mid cap or large cap stock, you you could have seen that it will immediately on the next day it might not go up above Bollinger Band, it might start going down. Whereas for penny stock, based on the trend that we have seen in past about a month, the stocks which are under 0.70, 0.80, they try to reach $1 in order to maintain listing on the stock exchanges. Once they reach $1, the stock falls down for some time, comes down under $1, and then picks up again to try to reach 1.5 to and then again pulls back, and after pullback it continues further to reach 2.5 and reach $3. The stocks which are listed on New York Stock Exchange and Nasdaq, the stocks with price $3 are the ones, under $3 are the ones which are officially called as penny stocks. So the initial listing requirement is the stock should have a price of $3. So before COVID happened, or when the stocks were registered, they might have been registered at least $3, and then their prices would have fallen down. So what we have seen trend in past 1 month is most of the stocks which are able to reach $1 price, which means they are able to maintain listing on the stock exchange, are being pulled by or are being traded in a way that they are uh, reaching prices of $2, $3. And that was the that was the reason why I am expecting that even this TRS, though it reached $1 here and it pulled back down, it might continue further up. So that was the reasoning behind giving the a buy call for this. Now it was uh, if we entered here, let's suppose we entered here and we see that the indicators are actually showing that we have entered this at a wrong time, at a overbought position, and it has dropped. After it comes to, let's say, mid Bollinger Band level or even little lower, you might see that indicators again start indicating that it is in oversold position, and then there might be new people entering in, which might pull the stock price up. So I'm trying to give a reasoning of why I gave a buy call for this, but I was just trying to answer also that even penny stocks do follow technical trend or chart pattern. However, there are other factors which influence it more.
Got it. Yeah. Thanks. Thanks. Kamal.
Right.
So is it fair to say for penny stock, it's always a good approach to buy at a lower cost and before it reaches or it plays in a range of 2.5 to 3, sell it and move out of it?
It's fair to say that, and mm, more especially for the stocks which or the companies which don't have strong financials and are um, pumped up to maintain listing, or uh, are just pumped up because the volume is high and there is no strong news from the company itself that they are doing something good about their product, or they are planning to release something. It's fair to say about them, but there are also some companies whose prices have dropped considerably because of COVID, and now they are trying to manage their financials in a way that the company sustains and continue growing from where they are. In those cases, you would see that the stock price continues further beyond $4. There are many stocks you would see that they have reached $10, $15. I think BNGO, which Daniel has requested, so it has reached 13.7. And if you would have been watching this around end of 2020 or early first week of January, you would see that it was under $5. Here it was at $3, and now it has gone up to close to $14. Not all stocks grow this way. If the company is really good, they have good product, then the prices can go further up as well. So it all depends again, what is the company, how is their product, how they are marketing it, what are the ways in which they are um, reaching out to people or doing their press releases. That's where the analysis on the news and the company's uh, investor page, these research help in holding on those stocks which has potential to grow from $1 to say $10, so which will be like 10 times growth. The probability of getting those stocks is less, but uh, there are one stock out of, let's say, 5 or 10 stocks which could grow like this. and if you sell at $3, you bought it at point, let's say 0.70, and you sell it at 3.5, you have made 5x. And if you're happy with it, and you don't want to bother whether it goes to $10, that's fine. And many times even I take that approach, that since I have made 3x or 5x already with the stock, um, I feel that I would like to in take the profit from that stock and search for some other stock which can grow like that 3 to 5x, rather than holding the money in that particular stock and hope that it will grow to 10 from $5, which will be like 2x. So if I have to keep, I'll keep a smaller position and take out profit by selling, let's say about 75 or 70% position. And is it relevant, or are you still thinking that it would be more profitable to sell every time?
No, it makes sense. Like what you mentioned, like it absolutely makes sense. It's our call. But yeah, people get greedy. They try to hold more. And I know like it drops also because it is very volatile and high risks. So yeah, no, I agree to you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Kamal, I got one question.
Yeah.
So like when you said about the profit, right? But when we are in a loss on in one, like for example, you are in a loss in particular stock. What are the percentages you sell? Like if it lost, if it has a loss of 20%, then do you sell at that time, or like how do we get to know that? Like that okay, we bought this, but now it's just going down. So just to stop, like reduce our losses. Can you explain on that?
Sure. That's a very critical question. So usually I follow two different strategies for stocks when I'm buying for medium to long term, and the stocks which I'm buying only for short term. So the stocks which I'm buying for medium to long term, if I buy and the stock price goes down after I buy, I think I had explained once with an example of LTE. I'll open that chart as well. So in that case, when a stock price goes down, I don't exit. Very straightforward answer. I hold on to the stock until it recovers, until its price comes to that level where I bought, and I can either exit at small profit or would still hold to make the profit I desire from it. When I say I hold, I I hold because I had bought it for medium to long term, which means I had done enough analysis on the stock, its company, its trend, and had taken position because I felt confident about the company, about the stock, and I don't want to take loss from that stock, because if I have done analysis, I have had confidence on the stock before entering, there's no point in exiting, as it's totally practical that once you enter a stock, it price can either go up or down. If it goes down, uh, that's not an unknown thing which has happened. Uh, it before buying itself, I have that expectation set that yes, when I buy, its price might go down, but I hold on to it until it comes to the same level at which I had bought, or um, goes higher. Now there's additional one more step which I usually do, and which I have mentioned multiple times in our groups, is taking an example of LT itself. I try to average down, and when I say average down, For LTE, yes, I think I had bought on this day when it was at it had dropped. This large gap down had caused a huge drop in the price, and I had set a limit buy at 0.29. Okay, so the next day price dropped further from here. It opened at 0.30 and my buy order at 0.29 got executed. And if you see, after few days it had another gap down.
माझ्याही बाबतीत काही ठिकाणी असं आहे, बट देन आय रिली डोंट केअर. मला माहिती आहे की बघ आपलं काम काढून घ्या.
Okay, so what I no problem. What I do in this case is what I did in this case, and I usually do is I average down with higher quantity, which brings my average price way closer to the trading price. Okay, and whenever it
One question, Kamal. So average downs means we have to you buy more at that time.
yes, when
Okay.
When a drop like this happened, which means I had let's take just for the sake of discussion, my order of 1k LTE got executed at 0.29. Okay, and here the stock price became 0.15 on that day. If you see, low is 0.12 and let's take 0.12 itself. I had bought at 0.29, it became 0.12, which means I am in loss by more than 50%. Okay, it might be disastrous for someone, but for the sake of discussion, let's think that out of my entire portfolio, I had invested only 10% of my investment here, so it doesn't move my portfolio that big, big way. But certainly I am down 50%. Now from here, in order to recover from this loss, either the stock price has to come to 0.30 or my average should be close enough here so that once it moves little up, I can exit at break even or little profit or small profit. So what I do here is I buy at least 2x or 3x of my previous position. So which means if I'm buying here, I bought here 1,000, I'll increase my position by 2k or 3k. So even if say I bought 2k, my total position is now 3k, and if I buy at 0.15, here I bought at 0.29, my average would be somewhere under 0.20. So when it starts recovering, and at the same time I'm seeing that mid Bollinger Band is somewhere at this level, so which means if maybe here either the mid Bollinger Band or upper Bollinger Band, at this point you would see that it would be pointing at this level, which means if it reaches 0.20 or above, my loss will start converting into profit. So I took a step here of reducing my average in order to make me turn my loss into profit sooner. Okay, this is one thing which I do if I don't see if I see a huge drop. Okay, I could also just hold instead of buying, but if I just continue holding, it means that I would be expecting the stock price to reach up at this level, but my hold will be for longer time.
Okay, makes sense.
Right?
Yeah.
If you want to hold for longer time, you can just leave it in your portfolio. And again, this is for the stocks which I would have entered for medium to long term. Now, for short term or stocks which I am entering for only few days, one day to 1 week, uh, I I would look at the trend. Let's say on this day, it usually most of the time I try to enter stock when it is either closer or under mid Bollinger Band. If it has crossed mid Bollinger Band level, any of the stock, uh, it means either there is some strong news or some momentum which I feel is there in the stock, which will push the stock up at least once. I might get at least one chance to exit at higher price from the price that I bought. Okay, that's the one thing in my mind which makes me to buy at that price. And second thing is, I am ready with funds that if the stock price drops from the price I bought, which means if the stock comes lower, I have funds in my account to buy at a larger quantity.
Right, right.
Okay.
Quick question, Kamal, for that. So do you have a percentage that is set, like in which percentage you buy a particular stock? So say, for example, this particular penny stock. So initially, you are confident at a price that you want to enter in. So you're buying at like 30%, and then eventually, in case if the stock goes in a downward direction, you're planning to average it down by purchasing more, or you also have a stop loss in place just in case.
Yeah, yeah. Um for stop loss, I usually keep stop loss for the stocks which I'm entering for few days or for short term. For long term stocks, I don't keep stop loss because I'm okay to hold even if it drops. But
Okay.
stop loss is um, especially for stocks which I'm buying for 1 or 2 days. I have stop loss in for those stocks, and if I'm knowing that I'm buying above Bollinger Band level, then there's definitely a stop loss. I'm okay to take small loss from that stock rather than rather than getting more loss from it. So stop loss, most especially if I buy in post market uh, after 6 o'clock, after 7 o'clock. Uh, if I am entering, I definitely put stop loss so that next day, if it goes down, I might I might not uh, have too much loss. So stop loss in those cases definitely helps. And I would recommend everyone to have stop loss set, especially you are entering for very short time, because uh, when you are entering for a stock for very short time, which means you are expecting profit in very short time, but you are also taking risk. So stop loss in helps in uh, making sure that your risk is minimal.
Kamal, how do we determine the stop loss? Like through the Bollinger Band, like or like percentage wise, like stop loss? How do I like just set up a stop loss? For example, like if I buy for $1, then if it goes 20% down, then should I put stop loss there? Like if I'm just in a position for 1 or 2 days.
Right. So here it depends. If your quantity is larger, then take uh, you would decide the stop loss level based on your buying price, which means your percentage or how much percentage loss you want to take because your quantity is larger. If your quantity is small, then you can set based on the Bollinger Band level or based on the technical analysis.
Okay, awesome, makes sense. Thanks, man.
You're welcome. Okay. Uh,
Thank you, Kamal.
you're welcome. So I think we'll take one more last question and then we can go on for the analysis of the stock.
So similar question, similar attached question to that. So so say for example we bought a penny stock, okay, and it's gone like it's giving us like 1.5x return. So CRTM or GSAT that we bought. So right now here I am thinking, I know that the price target for this particular stock, it may reach up to $1 or one some more upward trend. But again, at the same time, I have enough profit that I want to secure. So regarding trailing stop loss, specifically in Questrade or Interactive Brokerage, how do we determine like how much to decide? Because I haven't yet used that feature, but I'm planning to do that. So should we choose a percentage sign, or should we choose like if it's dropping below 30 cents or 20 cents? Because there's some calculation as well. You have to have like 0.9%, something like that. So if you can shed some light on that.
Yeah, sure. So usually whenever I am putting trailing stop loss, I put in terms of dollars because it makes things simple for me to know at what price I, I would be exiting if the stock is coming down. If we keep on percentage, you could do that as well if you are planning, especially for the stocks, if you are planning to hold for medium or long term, uh, in which case you don't have to keep modifying your trailing stop loss every day, right? Since you are
Yes.
holding for medium to longer term, you are expecting that the stock price would gradually continue going further up.
Yeah.
So if you have a fixed trailing stop loss, you would have to manually go and change the price level
Change.
every day.
Yeah.
Whereas if you set it at a percentage, then you don't have to change your trailing stop loss every day,
Yeah.
right? um, Whereas for short term, because you are monitoring also at, let's say for this SNDL, it reached it closed at 1.65, and you had bought somewhere at let's say at $1, or
Yeah.
yeah, at $1, and it has reached 1.65. So in this case, I would put a trailing stop loss at 1.5, which will assure that I am getting 50% profit, and still having hope that if it continues going further up, I am still holding the position to benefit from the uptrend.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Sounds good.
I think the question was about how does the percentage trailing stop loss work. So on the platforms like Interactive Broker, you could set trailing stop loss in terms of percentage of the um, market price. So let's say you're on Shopify. No, I'll keep SNDL itself. And let's say you are on SNDL, and the stock price is 1.5, and you want to have a trailing stop loss at 10% of the market price. So if it is at 1.5, your trailing stop loss will be at 1.35, like 10% lower than the market price.
It depends on the platform whether it is available or not, right? I don't see that from
So since you are setting at 10% of market price, whatever is the price, uh, your trailing stop loss limit would uh, move based on that.
No, I'm saying like that particular feature, I don't see that available in Wealthsimple.
Right, it's not on Wealthsimple. Wealthsimple has only uh, sell limit, and that too for TSX and TSX V stocks. Your stop loss limit and limit price need to be same.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Hey Kamal, just one question because we are talking about the day trading. I have seen a few of the people mention that we should use a relative volume indicator which is greater than 10. Is that a right approach? Because I have seen if we use that indicator and if you see any particular ticker and if you understand whether it's a buy or a sell, and if you pick the buy one, you really gain a great volume for that particular day. Like I tried thrice and I did see that I bought for $4, but that stock went for 69. I sold making a profit of almost like 2 times or 3 times in a day. Is that a right way or approach to do it if you are aware?
Mm, I think I have not noticed that. Maybe I'll explore on this.
Yeah, it is called relative volume, and if it is greater than 10, that is the indicator which people put in the scanner for such kind of stocks on the daily basis.
Okay, so I'm aware of relative price, but relative volume, maybe I'll.
Yeah, I see that on this FinViz, not on Yahoo, not even on the TradingView, but it is there on FinViz.
Is it this relative?
Yeah,
Vol-
relative
uh,
volume.
Okay, okay, sure. I'll explore this and
Okay, yeah, thank
maybe
you.
sometime I'll get back. Thanks for sharing. So usually people keep relative volume greater than 10.
Yeah, greater than 10. So you will come to know like how much volume is happening on that particular stock. So it may be a buying volume or a selling volume, which you can identify by going back on Yahoo. And if you see a green uh, a green line, then it means you can always go and buy that and try to sell it like within 3 to 4 hours.
Okay, right. Thanks for sharing.
Okay. Yeah, if you want, I will text you and I will show the screen of the website which I use for checking on daily basis. Okay.
Right. So you mentioned about Finviz, right?
Yeah, Finviz. Yeah. You go to Finviz.
Mm-hmm.
Now go to screener. Yes, and now you see this relative volume. Okay, the
Yeah.
filter. Yeah. So yeah, over 10.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you click on the volume, if you sort by volume at the end, yeah, and price change, also sort by price change. Yeah. Sorry, the change, percent change. Yeah. So now if you go and try to pick this any of this stock and see if that is a buy or sell, and if you try to buy such kind of stocks, like I've seen people are making good profit if they are only interested to do a day trading.
This is a good thing. Thanks for sharing.
Oh, you're welcome. No, I was not sure. Like I tried thrice and it worked for me, but I was like skeptical bit whether it will make a huge loss or not. So I thought I will check with you in this session.
Sure. I'll also. Where are the indicator buy and sell indicator you're saying?
Okay, so once you get this stock, then you can go on that particular day chart, right? Yeah, like I always go on Yahoo Finance, and then I see that particular day whether at 9:30 what was the volume, whether it was a green or whether it's a green indicates the buy, right, and red indicates the sell. If it is a sell, then I will not invest into it. But if I see a green, then I will definitely put my money and by like within 3 hours or 4 hours when people realize that this stock is having a high volume, they try to buy, right, and it goes always up. So you can always try to sell it within 3 to 4 hours and then move out.
Right. That's great. That's great to know. What I used to do is I have shared previously on Market Chameleon here. Whichever time of the day, if it is during the market hours, you can check for market movers, or if it is pre-market. In pre-market, sometimes they it's delayed a bit. That's why I use Benzinga. And then in aftermarket, here they have these three tables, and this table usually shows stocks which are having high volume. So
Okay.
the one which you shared is a very reliable scanner. Um, Up to now, I was using this, so I'll keep a note and
Yeah, only the
see.
problem which I found, like the data which you get in Finviz is 15-minute delayed. And in that time frame of 15 minutes, that stocks like swing like with a high percentage, and you lose that opportunity to buy within that initial 15 minutes time frame.
Yeah, even here, it's 15 minutes delayed.
Yeah. So I know like
Nevertheless, yeah.
they ask you to pay $30 to get a real-time data, but I thought like, is that really reliable to go ahead to to take that subscription? And that's the reason I thought to check with you whether you did explore such kind of thing before.
Had any of the paid subscriptions for day trading, because I am not doing day trading. I usually uh, have most of my positions for medium to long term, and some of the stocks which I buy in aftermarket, and based on my availability, since I am not doing trading every day trading every day, that's why I haven't subscribed for any of the paid subscriptions.
Okay,
Uh,
no worries. Thank you.
yeah, but this is good to know. Thanks. Okay. Yeah, Vivek has mentioned that it has relative volume. Yes. Just one more thing I wanted to check for this is the financials of the company. Though I'm not mentioning explicitly for the stocks, but do make it a point when you're doing analysis to check the financials. If you have if you are entering the penny stocks, uh, based on momentum, it might move up, but whether to hold at your target price for only for short term or for few more weeks, even if you are planning to hold for over a week, do check the financials of the company, either here on TradingView or on Yahoo Finance. Both both these platforms do give financials of the company. The ratings, uh, some of the ratings match, and some, depending on the market momentum, they don't match, but definitely financials is a good reference on deciding whether you can hold this for even for a week or more or not.
Kamal, I have a question. When we check in the financials,
Mhm.
what exactly are we looking for? Like, what I do is I check the liability and I check the assets. So, apart from that, is there anything else which is really important which we can look into?
Uh, so even balance sheet and cash flow are good references. If any of on the balance sheet and cash flow are also good references, wherein it gives a chart on how it has tried to cope up with COVID and how the financials company is trying to manage. So I do check on the, especially on the balance sheet, on how much they have, what are their liabilities and debt as of now, specifically how much debt, if it is a penny stock or a companies whose stock has fallen drastically last year. um, Debt to assets is something that I try to see against its total assets, because uh, somewhere they need to take care of the debts. So I specifically look for this. Means one of the key things that I look in the balance sheet. In on Yahoo Finance, if I show, let's see. So if you go into financials, also EBITDA is also a good reference on how the company is managing overall. What I usually look among uh, in the income statement and in balance sheet, and in cash flow, it has become important considering how it has performed last year. Both these sites have these details. In terms of EPS, this consensus EPS is a good reference on what analysts feel about the earnings per share. Were you saying anything, Vivek, or are we okay?
Yeah, we are okay. Thanks.
Welcome.